I will reject all attempts to weaken Canada, all attempts to wear us down, to break us down, so that America can own us. That will never, ever happen.
How are we? Good. Good to see you all.
Has the president fully made up his mind on the level of tariffs to impose tomorrow? We keep hearing about a 20% flat rate.
The president said last night he has made a decision and a determination. I was with him in the Oval Office earlier, and he is going to announce that decision tomorrow. I don't want to get ahead of the president. This is obviously a very big day. He's with his trade and tariff team right now, perfecting it to make sure this is a perfect deal for the American people and the American worker, and you will all find out in about 24 hours from now.
And last thing, would you like to respond to the Chinese military drills around Taiwan?
The National Security Council briefed me on this morning, and they said that the president is emphasizing the importance of maintaining peace in the Taiwan Strait, encouraging the peaceful resolution of these cross-strait issues, reiterating our opposition to any unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force or coercion. That is directly from the National Security Advisor.
When the president goes down to Florida on the weekends, does he ever hear from, there are so many retired folks down in Florida, does he ever hear from any retired Americans who are stressed about these wild swings in the stock market because of the tariff uncertainty, and they're sitting there on fixed income or living off a 401k, and they don't know how much money's going to be left?
Well, certainly they are legitimate concerns, and the president takes those concerns very seriously, and he's addressing them every single day. And tomorrow's announcement is to protect future generations of the senior citizens you mentioned. It's for their kids and their grandkids to ensure that there are jobs here in the United States of America for their children to live the American dream, just like they presumably did. And as for their worries about their 401ks, their Social Security, I just addressed Social Security. This president is always going to protect it for our tax-paying senior citizens. As for their 401ks, look at what President Trump did for you in his first term. He is working on implementing that economic formula every single day by lowering inflation, lowering energy prices, massive deregulatory efforts, while simultaneously effectively implementing tariffs, and they'll hear more about that announcement tomorrow.
And you said that the president right now is with the trade and tariff team. They are very confident that this is all going to work. But
Yes.
What if they're wrong?
They're not going to be wrong. It is going to work. And the president has a brilliant team of advisors who have been studying these issues for decades. We are focused on restoring the golden age of America and making America a manufacturing superpower. And again, Peter, I would point you to the investments that have already trickled into this country. And the president hasn't even made his tariff announcement yet tomorrow. There have been billions of dollars in private investments from around the world pouring into American communities. What does that look like for those watching at home, for the people you mentioned worried about their own economic circumstances? It means more jobs in your communities, which means more money, more investments, more money in your pocket. That's what the president is committed to.
President Trump says, quote, "I couldn't care less if prices go up to American families." America, you hear that? Donald Trump says he couldn't care less if you pay more. And it's not just a little. The estimates go as high as $6,500 more for the average American family.
This will be the largest tax increase on American consumers in modern times. End of story. And people will feel that literally in the coming days and weeks. If that was not bad enough, what are we seeing in terms of other economic reverberations? Read this morning, Canadian travel to the United States is down 75%. If you happen to be a place in Arizona and Florida where you love those snowbirds coming from Canada, chances are those revenues aren't going to come.
So why invent this emergency? The emergency is being invented to do the tariffs, to do the taxes on everyday Americans. Why? So they can use the tariff revenue to give a tax cut to billionaires. We need to stand strong against a tax increase, the largest tax increase in American history on our consumers. We need to stand strong for a strong relationship with a good ally, Canada, and that's why I'm really, really excited we have this vote coming up. It's going to be close. Again, it's likely to slip from today into tomorrow, but we feel really good about stakeholders like AFL-CIO, steel workers, machinists, and we think we're going to have some industry groups coming out today also in support of our legislation. Republicans here, our colleagues, they're embarrassed by 51st State or Governor Trudeau. They're embarrassed by this stuff because they view Canada as a great ally. But they got to be willing to stand up. They've said they're concerned about tariffs. Okay, fine, you're concerned. Now we're giving you a vote. You can stop them if you want to. So we're asking everybody to have a backbone, be the Article 1 branch. Trade is supposed to be an Article 1 responsibility, not an executive responsibility. So stand up for your constituents and say no tax increase on them. I mean, it has to go to the House. So if it passes in the Senate, and we hope with some bipartisan support, then we got to work on the House. Then it would go to the White House and the president could veto it. But it actually turns off the emergency that is the basis for the 10 and 25% tariffs. There are other kinds of tariffs that can be imposed, but this one would turn off the Canadian emergency and the 10 and 25% tariffs would go away. We obviously have got step one in the Senate, then in the House, on to the White House. But we think that the economic chaos that's being caused and markets being roiled and consumer confidence dropping and some predicting recession, together with a bipartisan vote, might convince the White House, hey, look, there's a better way to treat American citizens and customers.
President Trump is in the process of trying to fundamentally restructure the U.S. economy, and that means that our economy here needs to change dramatically as well. And as I made clear to President Trump in our call last week, I will reject all attempts to weaken Canada, all attempts to wear us down, to break us down, so that America can own us. That will never, ever happen. I want to take a step back today and talk about what building Canada strong means. At its core, it means an economy that creates good, high-paying jobs, grows incomes, an economy that's resilient and can withstand shocks from abroad. But it's more than that. What makes me a liberal, what makes my colleagues liberals, is an unwavering belief that an economy is only strong when it serves everyone. Because in society, people can slip through the cracks. They can be left behind. And that was the reality for far too many Canadians, even before President Trump's tariffs, and now because of them, many more Canadians are at risk. So we need to act urgently, purposefully, and forcefully. Canadians need a fighter, yes, to stand up to the president, but also a fighter to protect your jobs and your businesses, and crucially, to build an economy that everyone can afford.